This is Paul. I'm making a quick video talking about what's going on in the manosphere. It's some pretty crazy stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Whatever podcast, but they've made it to the FBI radar. And it's basically just for letting people talk and letting them dig their own graves. And it's pretty incredible, actually, what's going on. So rather than explaining it, I'm going to show you guys what's going on. So we're going to hop into this screen share here. And yeah, this is a video Brian recently put out. Let's check it out. Starting 35 seconds in.
Moment. No. The Department of Homeland Security, oh my God, has funded a $700,000 study by some university in Arizona comparing. We're gonna pull this shit up, bro. It's fucking crazy, and you guys can look into this more. So I'm gonna read this tweet. Can you make us bigger, Nick? Yeah. Other sides. Actually, so this is massive. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security paid nearly $700,000 to a counterterrorism NGO to intercept and divert Twitter X traffic away from specific individuals in the manosphere. Those people were the Rational Male, Cobra Tay, Fresh and Fit Pods.
Check this out. They're going after Rational Male, Fresh and Fit, and of course Andrew Tate. That's a given.
Others, Whatever podcast, were specifically named as targets. The DHS, Department of Homeland Security, TVTP grant funding was given to Arizona State University, home of the McCain Institute. The purpose of the grant was to design a native tool to be used on Twitter to effectively suppress individuals in the manosphere by diverting their audiences away from their content towards counter-messaging content, websites, podcasts, and creators curated by the McCain Institute to counter, quote-unquote, hate speech and misinformation. The U.S. government has named the manosphere as one of the biggest terror threats facing the U.S. They claim this broad network is the main cause of extremely isolated acts of incel-related violence. The conflation, the conflation of incels with the broader manosphere as a justification for targeted counterterrorism operations, which can include aggressive surveillance and censorship, is part of a disturbing trend. Everywhere will live forever.
No, of course, they have
literally never crossed my mind.
The ever-broadening definitions of terrorism and extremism put forth by the U.S. government poses a very real threat to the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. Even worse, the grant application resulting reports suggest a large-scale collaboration of tech giants, NGOs, and U.S. government agencies to design and implement tools to counter hate and disinformation by.
So big tech is teaming up with the government and NGOs to suppress this type of content, and it gets even crazier.
Diverting web traffic from specific individuals and communities deemed harmful. What is a harmful content according to the U.S. government? White supremacy, anti-government views, foreign terror organizations, i.e. ISIS, and the manosphere are the top four.
So basically, they're putting the manosphere, shows like Fresh and Fit, Whatever podcast, right up there with ISIS, with fucking ISIS, in terms of how harmful they are, in terms of terror threat. Completely fucking insane. So why might they do this? Well, maybe one of the reasons is some of the things Brian brings up on his show.
I mean, I'm definitely concerned about the ongoing feminization of men. There's blatant attack, I think, on masculinity, and there is a rapid decline in testosterone levels. And I think it definitely serves our government, corporate overlords to have a bunch of weak and feminine men. They're way easier to control. Our environment, it's filled with estrogenic chemicals, plastics, junk food, very sedentary lifestyles. I think the media, in its quest to reshape society, loves to just demonize normal masculine men, labeling them as toxic, as she said, toxic masculinity. testosterone levels been declining for decades. I guess they're tracking it somehow. Sperm count and strength, men, like also decreasing exponentially. I mean, I'm definitely concerned.
So there you have it. Sperm count, strength, all metrics of masculinity are declining. Testosterone levels, calls it out on the show. And I'm sure you remember, you might have heard about some of this, the plasticizers in food disrupting people's hormones when it comes to their thyroid, but also reduced steroidogenesis, so the reduction of making steroids like testosterone. Then you have atrazine. You remember Alex Jones talking about how they're turning the frogs gay. Well, this is what they're talking about. Atrazine feminizes male amphibians. It can actually turn the frogs, male frogs, into females. These chemicals disrupt human endocrine systems. And then we have a pretty good article from the Urology Times here talking about what's been going on from 1999 to 2016, a pretty short time period. But you could see the testosterone levels in less than 20 years went from 605, so over 600 on average, down to the mid 400s. So over a 25% drop in less than 20 years. This is after they've already been down from the 70s and 80s, 60s before that. So yeah, there you have it. This stuff really is happening. And this show made it onto FBI's radar. One of the reasons why they're calling out the chemical warfare our own government and maybe the Chinese government's waging on us, possibly in conjunction with our government. Lots of elites making money off of China. So, it's no surprise all this bullshit's happening and they're going after it, people calling it out. We need to be aware of this and continue looking into it further on our own. When we hear things like this, we should be pulling up any kind of related information on our own, doing research on our own, and talking about this to everyone we know. And that's how we stop it, because knowledge is power. I'll leave it there, folks. Have a good one. Hey everyone, what's up?